A 30-foot wooden power pole came crashing down in the middle of a storm straight into the president of our HOA's house. And, the irony, she was the one who had it planted in front of my gate against every code and every ounce of common sense. I warned her it was dangerous. I begged her to reconsider, but she laughed in my face and fined me instead. When the storm finally tore that pole loose, it didn't just take out her bay window. It took down her whole little kingdom of control. My name's Daniel Delaney. I spent 30 years as a military electrician burying cables in war zones and double-checking every line like my life depended on it because sometimes it did. When I retired, I thought I was leaving chaos behind. I bought a house in Silver Birch Estates, a quiet-looking suburb with picket fences and manicured lawns. I wanted peace, a routine, something predictable. But there's no such thing as peace when someone like Karen Marston runs your HOA. Karen, the self-proclaimed queen of Silver Birch. Platinum blonde bob clipboard glued to her hand, always walking like she owned the pavement under her heels. It started one Wednesday morning. I was sipping my black coffee staring at my roses when I saw the truck parked by my gate. Big white box truck, HOA logo slapped on the side like a sticker. 2 workers in neon vests. And there it was, lying across my driveway, a 30-foot utility pole. My first thought was, no way. Then Karen stepped out smiling like she'd just conquered Rome. "Mr. Delaney," she said, "don't mind the crew. We're just upgrading the community infrastructure, should be done by lunch." I looked at that pole. It wasn't on the 3-foot easement strip. No, it was planted smack in the middle of my gate, blocking me from pulling my truck out. I told her it was unsafe out of regulation, but Karen's smile only grew tighter. "That's not your concern, Mr. Delaney," she said. "The HOA assumes all liability, and if you don't cooperate, we'll fine you $150 a day for obstruction." Just like that. No vote, no permit, nothing. She walked away like she'd just planted a flag in enemy territory, and I stood there jaw tight realizing this wasn't about infrastructure, this was about control. I'd fought Karen before. Beige mailboxes, fines for bird baths. Petty stuff. But this was my land, my gate, my right to leave my own driveway. And she shoved a wooden monument right through it. By the time the sun was overhead, that pole stood tall and ugly. Concrete poured solid wires strung like a thread across my property. It felt like a middle finger I couldn't move. That night, I didn't sleep. I kept thinking about Iraq. My buddy Tyler burned alive when a shoddy power setup collapsed under sniper fire. I kept seeing his face every time I looked at that pole. I measured documented filed photos. 2 feet too close to the road. Not enough clearance overhead. I knew the codes better than anyone. But Karen knew something too, how to bury the truth under piles of paperwork and midnight emails. I started digging through the HOA bylaws. Section 3.7, maintenance only. No new structures without permits. She had nothing. I called the city. They had no record, no project approval, nothing. She had faked it all. I showed up at the emergency HOA meeting. 30 neighbors in folding chairs. Karen at the podium acting like she was unveiling the Eiffel Tower. I asked her about permits, about votes, about city clearance. Her answers slipped. Her smile faltered, but she still bluffed her way through. A few neighbors started to murmur doubt, flickered. I saw it. Her power wasn't as solid as she wanted people to believe, but she hit back. The next morning, a fine taped to my mailbox. Unapproved fence modification. Another for trash bins. Another for grass. Pure retaliation. And worse, she started whispering that I was unstable, aggressive, dangerous. Neighbors kept their distance. Lucinda, the widow down the street, called me in tears. "They're saying you threatened the workers," she whispered. Lies, all lies, but they were writing them into the meeting notes. Karen was painting me as a ticking bomb, waiting for me to snap. And for a moment I almost believed her. One night, staring at that crooked shadow in my yard, I thought maybe I am overreacting. Maybe I should just let it go, let them fine me, let the damn pole stand. I felt small, cornered, like maybe Karen had finally beaten me with her rules and fake smiles. But then I remembered Tyler. I remembered the smell of ozone and burnt cloth, the silence after the transformer blew. I remembered why I checked every grounding wire twice, and I realized I couldn't walk away, not this time. Because if that pole fell and someone got hurt, it wouldn't just be Karen's fault, it would be mine too for letting it slide. So I fought back harder. I wrote reports detailed like military briefings, every photo annotated, every distance measured. I filed with the city, the Utilities Commission, even the mayor's office. I discovered something darker. Karen wasn't just blocking my gate. That pole was rerouting power illegally, trenching underground straight into her private shed. She'd applied for an upgrade months ago, got denied, and did it anyway. She was siphoning electricity to run some personal project off the books unmetered using the HOA as cover. When the city declared the pole illegal and gave her 7 days to remove it, I thought maybe the fight was over. But Karen doubled down. She issued a $700 special assessment to every household, blaming me for delays. Neighbors were furious at me. She'd turned their wallets against me, trying to isolate me again. So I went door to door. I handed out evidence permits, trench maps, violations. I showed them the truth. For the first time, people listened. Doug from 3 doors down, Lucinda with her muffins, even the Johnsons who once threatened to sue me over a tree branch. One by one, they saw Karen's facade cracking. And then the storm came. The city's deadline had passed. The pole still stood leaning now, concrete splitting at the base. That night, the wind screamed through the neighborhood, ripping shingles off of rooftops, slamming trash cans down the street. I watched through the window as the pole swayed like a drunk giant, wires sparking against each other. My heart pounded. I could hear Tyler's voice, feel the sand and fire of Iraq. And then, with a deafening crack, the pole gave way. But it didn't fall on me. The wind shifted, and the 30-foot wooden monster came crashing down straight into Karen's pristine house. It punched through her bay window, shredded the siding, sent sparks flying across her living room. I ran across the street, rain pelting my face, cables hissing at my boots. Karen sat on her staircase, mascara running, staring blankly as her empire collapsed around her. For once, she had nothing to say. By morning, the truth was everywhere. City crews tore up the trench, exposed her illegal wiring, revealed the shed she'd been hiding, ventilation ducts, panels, high-power units. Fraud, theft of utilities, endangerment. She resigned in shame, effective immediately. The HOA scrambled to rebuild. Her name was stripped from minutes, her votes voided. Neighbors whispered about orchids, about stolen money, about the woman who ruled by fear until her own lies buried her. I stood on my porch watching the cleanup crews haul away the shattered pieces of that pole. The ground was uneven, scarred, but quiet. And I thought power doesn't come from poles or fines or titles. It comes from standing up even when you're tired, even when you're afraid, even when everyone says you're the problem. Karen's house was broken. Her throne was gone. And me, I had my gate back. The lesson, abuse of power always collapses under its own weight.